There we go. That should be better. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. It's parade day in Philadelphia. I'll be headed down. I can't wait. It's going to be such a great time. This is our day. This is our day. This is what it's all about. I can't say it enough. I did a rant on it yesterday during the show. I have to do it again. This is our day. This is for us. This is what is absolutely 1,000% for us. And you guys know the first championship I ever really experienced, the first championship I ever experienced was the Phillies winning the World Series. And I'll never forget the pride for the first time in my life wearing a Philadelphia sports team's championship shirt, like a 2008 Phillies World Series championship shirt. Like the pride I felt. I was traveling around the country. Our city is champions, baby. And then in 2017, 2018, being in Minnesota, being at US Bank Stadium, being on the field, watching the confetti come down on Nick Foles and Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, and Nick Foles patting Carson Wentz on the shoulder, be like, "You'll get here one day, man." And then the confetti sticking to my bald head. Like, that was amazing. And then seeing all the footage of all you guys celebrate on Broad Street, being right there at the Art Museum steps for Jason Kelsey's amazing speech, watching the parade floats come in, seeing, I'll never forget this as long as I live, the parade in 2018. A father this guy had to be maybe 40 at the oldest, and he's holding his son's hand, and his son is a little kid, no more than 8 years old, and the son is wearing a Chuck Bednarik jersey. Now, they were far in front of me. I couldn't run and catch up to them. I had this burning question. One, I think, was the obvious, was this just shows you how generational it is. Like that kid obviously didn't know Chuck Bednarik, didn't watch Chuck Bednarik back in the day in 1960, but it had been passed down, the knowledge of Chuck Bednarik, to this little kid. And that's where I remember thinking how beautiful it is that this is so generational, where that kid's grandfather was probably a big fan of Chuck Bednarik and then told the kid about it, and the father told the kid about it. And I just remember thinking, I was like, this is what it's all about. It's all about bringing people together to root for something that they love so much. And today we get to bring the entire city of Philadelphia together to celebrate a Super Bowl championship. The second Super Bowl championship in 7 years we get to enjoy together. I can't wait to get down there. I can't wait for my daughter to see it. Speaking of it being generational, like, my wife didn't grow up in this area, and I told her, it's like, this didn't happen. Like, I was 27 years old when I got to experience a championship, and that is absolutely not lost on me at all. And I thought about it the day the Phillies won. I thought about it in 2017 when the Eagles won and we got the parade. Like, I never experienced it. Now, picture these kids that are growing up now, and it's like, oh yeah, this is what happens. I swear I had this thought, and I know the Eagles don't have this thought, and that's what makes me love this team so much. One of the main things, or one of the big things that makes me love this team so much. But I thought about whether, it's going to be tough to get down there today. Maybe I'll just go next year. Oh, that thought crossed my mind. I'll just go next year. It wasn't, the Phillies will win, or the Sixers will win, or the Flyers will win. I'll go next year when the Eagles win again. That was the thought. And I was like, ooh, you spoiled brat, you. Anyway, I can't wait to see how happy the city is. And I showed my daughter, Little Toots, again, 5 years old, I showed her video of the last Super Bowl parade. And she's like, was I there? I was like, you weren't even here yet. Like, here. You weren't even here yet. And she was watching the video of all the people on Broad Street, and then at the Art Museum and all that. And I said, do you still want to go? Like, you see how crazy this is going to be? And she's just like, yeah, I want to go. I'm like, that's my girl. So yeah, we're going down today. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. Can't wait to see these guys down there. You know what I mean? It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I do plan on filming as much as I can while I'm down there. Putting a couple pieces together for the show to take you guys into the parade. Those that can't be there, I want to make sure I do what I can to take you guys in. A couple of different topics I'm going to be kicking around with everybody. And, there's two really that I want to do. One is just, why do you Like, what makes you love this team so much that you feel has made them world champions? Like, I love the world champions. But no, like, what is it about this team that you love so much? I want to ask that question. And then we all have that. I think a lot of us, I should say, have that person that we think about that you wish could have experienced it. And it's someone you wish you could have experienced it with. And I want to give Eagles fans an opportunity to shout that person out. Like, I want to give people the opportunity to acknowledge and remember the people that you really wish were there with you. Because I think that's a beautiful thing that so many people have. Just because for a couple of reasons. One, it's just beautiful to remember a loved one. And also at the same time, it's beautiful that you can make them a part of it. You can still make them a part of it. And I think it's also something that makes you appreciate the moment for yourself a little bit more as well. So I want to get into that with the great people of Philadelphia. And I'm just so excited because this is the day. These are the days that makes it all incredibly worth it when you think about the disappointment we've gone through. I just did an interview. Be on the lookout for this. I just did an interview with Mark Zumoff for his podcast and web show, Fresh 24. And Mark grew up in the area. I grew up in the area. And Mark Zumoff asked me about what makes this city so special when it comes to why they care so much about their sports. And I went to the idea of it being generational. You could say that about just about every place. But I think with Philadelphia, we get overlooked so much, unfortunately. Like, America was born here, and we get overlooked. And I think it's an opportunity to say that we're the best. Like, when you're a champion, it's undisputed. Like, you could say, oh, it was a lucky call by the ref, or if that one play didn't happen. Like, people can always pick it apart, but that's just talk. There's another Super Bowl banner that's going to get unfurled at Lincoln Financial Field at the beginning of next season. There's another Super Bowl ring going on our Eagles' fingers. There's another Lombardi trophy hanging on that banner at Lincoln Financial Field. 2-time Super Bowl champions. Nobody could take it away. And when we get that opportunity as a city to say we're number one, we're better than New York, we're better than Boston, we're better than LA, we're better than Chicago. It's just a wonderful, amazing. Oh, better than Dallas. It's an amazing feeling. And I think we're so parochial where when we get that opportunity, it's just so owned by us. And what I mean by we're so parochial is like we take, like, you'll never catch me saying, you guys maybe heard me say this before, you'll never catch me saying that I'm from Philly. All right. I'm originally from Ambler. I really grew up in Doylestown. All right. I'm from the Philly. I say I'm from the Philly area. I'm from the Philadelphia area. All right. Or when I talk to other people that talk on a microphone, say I'm from the Philadelphia market, something like that. But I know that if I say I'm from Philly, okay, if I ever say that, somebody who was born and raised in Philadelphia proper, even whether it's Northeast Philly or that's 8th and Wharton, I don't know, wherever, they're just going to pop up out of nowhere, like pop up out of a flower pot or something, and be like, well, we're in what neighborhood? What parish you from? Something like that. And I'm going to be like, Doylestown. I'm like, you ain't from Philly. I just know it's going to happen. That's how parochial we are as a city. Even the people from the surrounding suburbs, get out of here. And I love that about the city of Philadelphia. They take such ownership. This area takes such ownership of their sports teams. It's like, no, you're not invited to the club. Like we put stakes in the ground, we mark our territory, and we take such pride into that. One thing Mark did tell me was, Mark Zumoff, he's like, when you answer this question, you can't use the word passion. And I'm like, I like that. Got to come up with a new adjective. Copy that. So anyway, can't wait to get down there. Also, yesterday was locker room clean out day. The happiest locker room clean out day. I remember Andy Reid getting fired. And I remember, just as fate would have it, I was the first media member in the locker room after Andy Reid had gotten canned. And, or excuse me, at least we knew that Andy Reid was getting canned. And I remember I walked into the locker room and I was like, wait a minute, I am the only non-athlete. What's going on? And I realized all the other I must have went in the wrong door because all the other media members went in another door. And I was like, for like 30 seconds, just looking around being like, locker room's open, right? And the first person that was available was Cullen Jenkins. And the mood in that room was abysmal. It was not even a sense of relief that at least it was all over. It was a sense of, wow, this year sucked, and Andy Reid's not going to be here, and I'm part of the reason Andy Reid's not going to be here anymore. And then you have moments like yesterday where the vibe is we're getting ready for a parade. Jordan Mailata, who we'll hear from on this show in a minute, Jordan Mailata talked about how excited he is for the parade, how somebody told him they had a long prep session, a long team meeting about what to expect for parade day. And I thought that was amazing. They're literally game planning for the parade. And Jordan Mailata said that, somebody told him that they're going to throw beers at you, so you better be ready. And he's like, that's awesome. That's just awesome. Where I'm going down in a bus, the top of an open float, whatever, and people are going to be throwing me beers. Okay. I'm fine with that. Zack Baun talked about, okay, there's no bathrooms on the bus. This will be interesting. But they had a whole meeting about what to do, what to expect, and all that. And I think that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. But Jordan Mailata talked about his excitement. Zack Baun talked about his excitement. Milton Williams was talking about it. Cooper Jean just seems like this is incredible. This is going to be our life for 6 hours, going down to Broad, meeting at NovaCare or meeting at NovaCare, going down Broad or up Broad rather, and over the Art Museum and just basking in a triumph. I mean, this is the closest thing we'll get to a Roman triumph. You know what I mean? It's amazing. And I can't wait to see these guys do it. Can't wait. Jalen Hurts was at his locker yesterday. Everything this guy says, I'm just like, this. Please bottle this and put it in the athletes that are in the city of Philadelphia. Like, I want everyone to have the mindset of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl MVP. Jalen Hurts feels like he is behind other quarterbacks now. Let me say that again. Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl MVP, and he feels like he is behind other quarterbacks. He's talking about off-season workload and off-season schedule, off-season regimen. That's what he's referring to. I would have loved to work out more, but I'm behind these other quarterbacks because I was busy winning football games in the playoffs and winning my first Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. I was a little tied up in all that. I think I'll forgive you. I think most people, when they think of winning a championship in the banquet tour and the negative effects that could have, they think of Cole Hamels, unfortunately, after 2008. I got caught up in the banquet tour. He admittedly got caught up in the banquet tour. Everyone telling how great he was and all that stuff. It might become, it wouldn't shock me if it becomes a point of conversation at any point in the offseason. Oh, is this too much? Is this too much? I mean, I'll say I give him a lot of credit. He packed in a lot to, 2 days? Between Disney, The View, CBS, The Today Show, The Tonight Show, all the shows. Like, he packed a lot in to do it all in terms of media, the banquet, right? The banquet tour, the media tour. He did the tour in like 48 hours. That's pretty good. And now back to work, hopefully. But what he had to say to his locker yesterday, and we'll let you hear it, is just beautiful. Because it really does squash any idea that this guy is going to get distracted from the main thing. So we'll get into that. Also, Zack Baun talked about an unfair advantage. He got asked the question yesterday. I think it was Dave Urem of KYW that asked the question. How did you know you were going to get that pick? Because as we talked about yesterday with Mic'd Up on the NFL Network, Zack Baun's there on the sideline saying, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. And then, boom, he gets back on the field. Bang, interception. He says he's got an unfair advantage. He says this defense has an unfair advantage. We'll get into that. Also, the goal he set for himself this season is pretty funny looking back on it. And Jordan Mailata on the offensive line being underappreciated. Also, Jalen Hurts talking about Kevin Patullo. I did watch Kellen Moore, and this is weird to me. This can't be the first time this has happened, right? It can't be. Why would not that I care about the Saints, but it's just weird. Why would you announce your head coach and have a press conference for your head coach before your new head coach celebrates a Super Bowl championship with another team? The head coach of the New Orleans Saints is going to be in the Eagles Super Bowl parade. Currently, Kellen Moore is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and he'll be celebrating what he has already done as an offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not against Kellen Moore being in the parade. Let me make this clear. But the NFL has it so backwards that you can interview for other jobs while you're trying to win a Super Bowl. That's already weird. And now the head coach of the Saints is going to be like, that's just weird to think about. But that's the NFL. Tell me how this makes any sense. So now if you're a Saint, like let's imagine this. Let's say the Colts won the Super Bowl. Okay. I know. Let's live in this world for a second. And then Nick Sirianni gets introduced as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's like, all right, I'll be right back. I just got to go celebrate a Super Bowl I won with another team. Excuse me? Shouldn't you get to work for us so that we celebrate a Super Bowl? Like, just live in that world. Just put yourself in that mind. Like, this is just weird. All right? The head coach of the New Orleans Saints is going to be in the Super Bowl parade. That just doesn't hit my ears right. Anyway, it's just more on the NFL than it is anything with Kellen Moore. That's just weird. But Kellen Moore's out. I guess after today. All right. And then the next guy. Excuse me. He's going to step up. Kevin Patullo. I saw Josh McCown's name get brought up, former Eagles backup quarterback Josh McCown. Actually, he played in the playoffs when Carson Wentz got dinged by Jadeveon Clowney. So there's other candidates that are going to be up there for the offensive corner position. I like that Jalen Hurts yesterday in his locker didn't want to get into it. He was asked about Kevin Patullo. He was asked about Kellen Moore and what Kellen Moore brought to the table, and then he was kind of asked another. I think it was the third question. Revolving around the offense coordinator, he said, let's talk about something else. Like, he didn't want to get into elevating Kevin Patullo. He didn't want to get into nominating outside minds. He didn't want to get into the subject too much, but he praised Kellen Moore, talked about what he brought to the table, talked about how this would be a different role for Kevin Patullo. Then on the third question, I believe it was about the offense coordinator, he's like, let's talk about something else. To which I thought the reporters rightfully did. But we'll get into it all. And again, talk about how today is for you, the Philadelphia Eagles fan. I can't wait. Let's get into it when it comes to Jalen Hurts yesterday in his locker. We've made a lot about the main thing being the main thing. Well, now they know what the main thing is officially. They know what the main thing feels like. Jalen Hurts on this team now knowing the main thing.
We now know what, this is what it's about. And so I think that places more of a challenge on all of us as a group to keep the main thing, because we know what the main thing is. We've experienced that feeling before. So now it's about doing what you can to continue to build and, start that next pursuit.
Again, Philadelphia Eagles press conferences, where I get this stuff on Philadelphia Eagles press conferences YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out for yourself in its entirety, go ahead doing that. We talked about that before. How do you not love that? We thought this is what we've wanted this whole time. Then we get it, and we're like, yeah, this is definitely what we wanted the whole time. But now that we've tasted it, now that we've flown first class, we don't want to go back to coach. We don't want to go back to economy. We want first class. We want a nice lay flat with people constantly coming up, just be like, another drink, sir? They've been to the promised land. Now it's all they want. Now, here is what so many things that Jalen Hurts said yesterday, I didn't find, like, a lot of times what he says would be, could be considered philosophical. Oh, stuff is like, the main thing. I had a purpose before anyone had an opinion. That all that stuff could be like out of a Hallmark card. Yesterday, it was just tidal waves of great points, one after another, just crashing in. And this was one of my favorite things. I've talked about, when you talk about athletes, there are certain athletes that love what their sport brings them, but they don't necessarily love the sport. The one person that I thought of a lot, and it's not in football, is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, I think, loved what basketball brought him, but didn't love basketball. I want, in a lot of athletes, them to have this obvious, amazing desire to win. But even before that, I want them to have a disdain for losing. And that, I feel, has driven some of the greatest athletes ever. I mean, any great athlete you can think of, that's generally how they thought. Winning's great, but losing is the worst. When you win, you almost have a sense of, yeah, I accomplished it. I did it. Because I know this is where I should be. To reiterate Zack Baun's quote from 2 weeks ago. Yeah, this is where we should be. Yeah, this is where you should be. You've worked hard. You're that talented. You should win. When you don't, and you are that good, and you are that talented, and you did not win for whatever reason, I want that to hang with you. And that seems like it is for Jalen Hurts. Here he is yesterday in his locker room talking about how this win only makes him want to win more.
I think everything this whole year has been more magnifying to me in terms of my desire to win, because I kind of learned like how I processed everything after the game and where my heart was. It's like the joy of winning it still had no comparison to the pain of losing it. And so those things are still going to continue to motivate me and drive me internally.
Can he just talk every day? I feel like we need a daily affirmation with Jalen Hurts. That's what we need. A little Stuart Smalley. If you know, you know. We need a little daily affirmation with Jalen. I need Jalen Hurts in like some motivational tape. Whatever. I'll just put him on repeat throughout the offseason just to make you feel good. But this guy is telling you everything you want to hear, but the best part about it is that he means it. It's not so much what you want to hear, it's what he wants to say and what he means. And this is your quarterback. I can't say it enough. How do you not love this guy? Even before he won the Super Bowl. How do you not love this guy? Two more I have for you for Jalen Hurts. Well, this is when he was asked about what he liked most about being MVP, and this is one I just I literally laughed out loud. Literally laughed out loud.
I mean, it's the work. You know, it's the work. That's all I think about. And you think about what it took and what it takes, and I know I'm behind in terms of what's to come in the future. You know, you play this longer to the year. And you got other people, other teams, other quarterbacks kind of have a head start of the next year. So I just want to plan out my routine and plan out my off season so I can put the appropriate work in with my teammates.
When does that start for you, that work?
I mean, 364 days.
All right. That is the Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion quarterback Jalen Hurts talking about winning a Super Bowl and winning an MVP as a hindrance. This is your quarterback, folks. This is your quarterback. Can you imagine next year, first post-game press conference, Eagles win, you know? Jalen Hurts said, hey, before taking any questions, I missed that throw in the first quarter. I was a little behind on preparation because we were busy winning that Super Bowl last year. And, you know, we had the parade and I had the media tour for there for a second. But, like, I should have made that throw. I'm sorry I won the Super Bowl last year. It just held me up in my preparation where I wasn't able to work on my accuracy as much in the offseason. Mi scusi, everybody. I'm sorry. Like, that's the light he just put the Super Bowl. Winning the Super Bowl was just put in there with, it just took up so much time in my offseason to prepare. You know, winning that Super Bowl, I should have blocked it off in my Google Calendar. How do you not love this guy? How do you not love this guy? Anyway, maybe you didn't get the same kick out of it as I did, but I thought it was beautiful. Last thing, and this is where he talks about Kevin Patullo. Now, for context, because context is important. He talked about Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore bringing in that outside voice and all that. And Jalen Hurts talked about how having that second year with an offensive coordinator and play caller is important. He didn't just push that aside, despite Kellen Moore just coming in here, and then a year later, bing, bang, boom, they win a Super Bowl. But he did say he brought in that outside influence. Talked about the new ideas that he brought to the table, how valuable he was to the team. Talked about still how he longs for continuity with an offensive coordinator and play caller. That's something that's important that we have to stress, and play caller. And he talked about how you got to find that rhythm. And the more familiarity you have, the better. When he talked about that, I thought, okay, well, is that a slight? Could it be read as a slight endorsement of Kevin Patullo? Jalen Hurts then asked point blank about Kevin Patullo potentially becoming the next OC and play caller.
Yeah. Kevin Patullo's never been he'd have a different role. So it's hard to compare, that role to this role because his job is going to demand something totally different of him. And I have a lot of confidence in him and what he's shown. However, I know, over the years I've learned that's out of my jurisdiction. And so kind of just taking things as they come and trying to go out there and be the best I can be and just learn and evolve.
Jalen, what are you most proud of? Last year, part of what Kellen brought last year was kind of an external approach, external ideas. Another.
Let's keep it geared towards something else.
I don't want to talk about it, all right? We got a parade coming up. We just won the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be hiring anybody. And you heard right there, he also talked about how he knows that this is above his pay grade, which I think is hilarious because I don't know much that's above his pay grade. But basically saying that this is up to the front office, this is up to Jeffrey Lurie, this is up to Howie Roseman, this is up to Nick Sirianni, this isn't up to him. And he says he's learned that. Now, when he said he learned that, I went, is that a little nod to Brian Johnson that he should still be here? But I don't know how much you could go back on that. I'm sure he feels that he'd be able to do it no matter who his offensive coordinator was, even if it was Brian Johnson running it back this year. But he said this is basically over his head. Kevin Patullo, when it comes to the NFL, started his NFL career in 2007 with the Kansas City Chiefs. Offensive assistant, offensive quality control coach. Then went to the Bills to be the offensive quality control coach. Then with the Bills was then promoted to offensive assistant and assistant wide receivers coach. Titans assistant wide receivers coach in 2014. Jets quarterbacks coach. Went to Texas A&M for a year. Then back in the NFL with the Colts. Was the wide receiver coach there with the Colts from 2018 to 2019. Then passing game specialist with the Colts. Eagles passing game coordinator the last 2 seasons, and most recently associate head coach under Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo have been together since their days with the Colts. So he hasn't done it. He hasn't called plays. You could talk about familiarity, but the last time the Eagles had familiarity at the end of the season, in terms of hiring from within, I really don't want to put any potential mistakes or not even mistakes in another aspect, but maybe the maturation process of Nick Sirianni as a head coach and an offensive-minded head coach. Maybe he was meddling too much in the offensive side of things with Brian Johnson. Maybe he felt like he could because of the familiarity with him being there already. Maybe he's going to be a little bit more on the same page with Kevin Patullo. I don't know. I would really love to see Jalen Hurts have a say in this. And I'm sure they'll ask him. I'm sure it'll be a conversation. But I really can't go through another year of 2023. 2024. 2023. What am I saying? Where even when you were winning and being 10-1, it never felt real. It never felt like a Super Bowl championship was around the corner. It felt like a shoe was going to drop. And the shoe dropped for the Eagles in the last 7 games of the season when they went 6-7 and got bounced out of the first round of the playoffs. I mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs going into the Super Bowl. I told you one of the reasons I was really confident the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl because the Kansas City Chiefs, they weren't putting teams away all year. They were winning games. They won a lot of games. Every game but one the starters played in, they lost one game. They lost 2 in total. 3, really, including the Super Bowl. But I never felt like the Kansas City Chiefs watching them all year. I never felt like they were a Super Bowl. I never felt like they were going to win the Super Bowl. I felt like at some moment that shoe was going to drop, whether it was in the playoffs or whether it was in the Super Bowl. And that shoe dropped to the tune of 40-24, or 40-22, excuse me. Like, that's amazing. They got blown out. There was a reckoning coming. If familiarity helps aid this Eagles team and helps establish that rhythm that Jalen Hurts talked about yesterday, yeah, then Kevin Patullo it is. But if there's an outside influence, if there's someone that maybe the coaching staff is a little bit familiar with, and they want to try to, again, bring in that outside influence, that outside voice, well, then, yeah, maybe you are looking at somebody like a Josh McCown. I still think the odds-on favorite is Kevin Patullo, and I know that Kellen Moore is going to try to draw him to the Saints. That is a great vote of confidence and a great feather in the cap of Kevin Patullo in this whole thing. Because if Kellen Moore didn't want him and nobody around the league wanted him, well, then why are you elevating him? Just because he's been here? Well, how do you know he's the right man for the job if he's never done it before? If this turns out to be, I don't know if a bidding war is the right thing, but, the Saints really want Kevin Patullo, well, that will only raise his stock here in Philadelphia. And I would find it very hard to believe that regardless of, how much money can they really offer him that would be more than what the Eagles would be giving him anyway, that would justify leaving when it comes to the success you could have here in Philadelphia and how much you could build off that success for yourself later. Do you want to go somewhere else as a passing game coordinator champion, or do you want to go somewhere else as an offensive coordinator champion? Because that's what could happen. Even if the Eagles, God forbid, don't win the Super Bowl next year, even if this isn't going to be a dynasty, you could still show off for yourself a little bit with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, this offensive line, whoever your tight end is going to be. Hopefully it's still Dallas Goedert. That's a nice thing to have on your resume before you go somewhere else. Not just Super Bowl champion, which is nice, but the role you played to be a Super Bowl champion. The Super Bowl champion is going to be on your resume no matter what. Now it's an opportunity with some pretty great weapons to go out there and show how great you could be. So even if the Saints are courting Kevin Patullo and already sending him flowers, and even if Kellen Moore is going to be on that parade float, be like, hey, Kevin, you want to come down to the Big Easy? Why would he leave? The obvious answer is money, but he's going to get some money here in Philly if he stays to be the offensive coordinator and have a better team and coming off a Super Bowl win. I don't see Kevin Patullo leaving. Especially, if the Eagles do really want him as the offensive coordinator. If he leaves, it's probably because the Eagles did not want to give him the offensive coordinator position. Which, if you can give him someone familiar, by all means, give Jalen Hurts somebody familiar. As far as the defensive side of things, this was one of my favorite things to come out of the locker room yesterday. You saw on Mic'd Up, Zack Baun talking about how, he's after Cooper DeJean's pick 6. I'm going to get one. It's on the sideline saying, I'm going to get mine. And then he goes into the game, intercepts Patrick Mahomes. A couple plays later, A.J. Brown touchdown. So here he is yesterday when he was asked why and how he knew that he was going to get his interception in that game.
Preparation. I felt like if you give our defense 2 weeks to prepare, it's almost an unfair advantage to us. Because of Vic, because of all the coaches we have, because the preparation we put into it and the hard work we've been putting in all season. Honestly, probably the last 6 games, I was going into games very confident in the fact that I'd make a play some point in each game. It was just a matter of, I couldn't tell you if it was a forced fumble or a pick, but I was playing so confident that I knew I'd make a play.
Did you hear that? Because of how they prepare with Vic Fangio, it's an unfair advantage. Love this. How'd you know you're going to do it? Oh, because of how we prepare. Oh, that's great. Didn't want to talk about the future. He said he's going to talk about his future. Hold on. One person said, Mekhi Becton said he's going to talk about the future when his agent calls him. But that was about it. As far as Zack Baun went, next week. Next week, when he comes to, and he popped, I think he said he popped some Advil, or his headache's gone, whatever, from partying. That's when he's going to talk about the future. As far as goals, he's a liar, that Zack Baun. Said all year he didn't set goals for himself. Said when the Pro Bowl clause, when he came across the Pro Bowl clause in his contract for an incentive, he just laughed at it. Well, it turns out Zack Baun did have a goal.
Yeah, I told you guys that I didn't set any goals coming into the season, and I lied because I set one goal with my assistant linebacker coach, and I told him I wanted to have 100 tackles and make an impact on the game on this team, and I surpassed those goals, and that's why I don't set goals.
I believe it was week 11 he had 100 tackles already. Or excuse me, 11 games. He got 11 games. He had 100 tackles. He finished with 93 solo tackles on the season. That's pretty damn good, too. Again, I can't say it enough. How do you not love this team? Finally, I feel like I love Jordan Mailata, and he's become one of my favorite talkers this year. And I know I've said that many times, but he really has become one of my favorite talkers. I think he's wrong in what you're about to hear. If he's talking about the offensive line, like I went back and listened to the question, and just for proper context, he's asked about this offensive line. He's not asked about the offensive line in general, like around the league. I feel like the Eagles' offensive line is extremely well respected and highly praised. But I guess he's talking about the mystique or the stigma surrounding the offensive lineman, how no one ever knows the offensive lineman's name. The most famous athlete right now that has come out of Philadelphia right now is Jason Kelce, who is an retired offensive lineman, a center. The guy who stole the show and solidified his legacy beyond just Super Bowl champion is Jason Kelce with the parade speech dressed as a mummer. Like that. It's incredible. I don't feel like the offensive. Jeff Stoutland is praised as an angel of offensive linemen. He touches them, and then boom, they become Pro Bowlers. I don't feel in this city at all that the offensive line is underappreciated. So I guess in his head, he's talking about from a national perspective. But even there, they're rated as the best or second best offensive line in all of football. So anyway, yesterday, it's Ruben Frank, NBC Sports Philly, asking him the question about the offensive line getting their flowers.
Do you sense that? No, not really. I think for us, it's always been about doing our job first. We do know that we are an underappreciated unit, and that's okay by us. But I think a big part of it is Saquon. Saquon does a great job of sharing that love and that publicity, always giving thanks to us. So I think he's done a great job of just, again, sharing that love. And that's probably one big reason, because of Saquon, that we've gotten a lot more love than recent years. But that shows you the kind of character he is.
How did it come about that you be part of the Tonight Show thing?
Saquon.
Saquon.
And his whole agreement that he told the show was that he will only go on if the O-line can be there again. So they wrote that whole script of us shotgunning a beer just because Saquon told them that he didn't want to go if we couldn't go.
I love that stuff. I can remember, however you feel about Tom Brady. I can remember, I don't know if it was Capital One. It was one of the credit card companies. I remember they approached Tom Brady about being, endorsing their credit card, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it, but you got to get my lineman. You got to get my offensive lineman involved. So they wrote the script for the commercial to be like the 5 pillars of how great the credit card was or whatever. And each lineman represented one of the pillars. I thought that was brilliant. That was great. And it also shows love from a quarterback to an offensive line. Hearing Saquon Barkley is the reason the offensive line was on the Tonight Show is music to my ears. I can remember Barry Sanders being carried off the field by his offensive line, sharing that celebration with them. Like that would, to me, even as a kid watching that, I thought that was amazing. Listening to Jordan Mailata just shout out Saquon for getting them a national plug on TV is awesome. Outside the realm of football, of course, the Tonight Show. That's what this team's all about. You talk about reasons that you love this team, and again, it's one of the questions I'm going to be asking when I'm down there at the parade today. You know, what is it about this team that you love so much? Not just the fact that they're Super Bowl champions, but something that led up to this moment. What makes you love this team so much? Listen to Jordan Mailata talk about how their running back that had a 2,000-yard season that set an NFL record for most rushing yards in a single season and postseason combined. Like, nobody's had a better year than Saquon Barkley. Think about that. No running back has had a better year than Saquon Barkley. Most yards, Super Bowl championship. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Apparently he's working at Raising Cane's. Good for him. Here the food's delicious. And today he gets a triumph. Like, that's a pretty good year. And he said, yeah, don't forget about these guys that put me in the position. That's pretty special. Friggin' love this team. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Want to go to Disney on Ice tomorrow? I'm going. Thanks, Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. They also, don't forget to use the Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app. Game Time Picks allows you to filter out all the fluff so you get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices of the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app.
Well, that's pretty dope.
How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Sky Motorcars? Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check. See how you wonderful people are doing. Wine Niners Wine. Good morning, Farzy and friends. Enjoy the parade. Another fun snow day in Fangio land. Oh, yeah. Lackawanna County. April. What's happening? I'll be there in spirit and watching on my phone. Everyone stay safe and have fun. Where is Mr. Bob Constantine? How you doing, buddy? What's up, Bob? Let me know if you want to go to a Wings game, Bob. Pin 9617. Hello. The chefs love it. Get more press than when I was doing get more press than Eagles as to why they lost. Very bad. Yeah. I think the Eagles are getting theirs now. I will say I was doing a Farzy in the Field years ago on the radio, and I bumped into the niece of the groundskeeper from that commercial. That's great. But who are the chefs? Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers. James Hoffman, what's going on? Hello. So I wish I was there. What a fantastic day for Philadelphia. Absolutely. Paula Boderick, what's going on? Thanks for your positive attitude today. We should be epic for y'all. I'll be cheering for you from Texas. So proud of Jalen and all the Eagles. Yes, history is important, and it needs to be shared. That's beautiful. Thank you. James Hoffman, no one likes this. James Carter, great morning, my friend. Have a blessed, mighty, and strong day today, you and your family. God bless you, John. Thank you so much. Tate Jeffries, happy parade day, everyone. Sean Gillespie, hello. The Eagles Nest. Hurts, Smitty, AJ, Barkley got championship DNA. Their mentality only a few days after the winning the Super Bowl is next level. They are not satisfied. How amazing is that? Wild Bear 513, Fly Eagles Fly. Eagles Nest again because they got to get the ball rolling on preparing for the draft, free agency, and everything else. They are on crunch time. They on a time crunch, excuse me. Frank Reich, offensive coordinator. Don't think it happens. Wouldn't be shocked, but don't think it happens. Deontay Lewis, yo to you as well. Deontay Lewis, you got to hate losing more than you love winning. My Pop Warner coach, says Deontay. Morning and happy Super Bowl parade day, y'all. Thank you, Mark Anthony Rizzo. We are etched in history, says Dank. What's up, Dank? Sean Gillespie. Jalen is definitely experienced in plays. You know what? Thank you for mentioning that, Sean, because he's grown as a quarterback tremendously. This year without Jason Kelce. Remember if there are concerns, what do the concerns be? What will those concerns be? If there are concerns, what are the concerns? What would they be? Well, take the concerns, crumple them up, and throw them away. Because Jalen has never been more mature in reading a defense. Jalen's never been better at pre-snap reads than he was this year. And, man, it's been a remarkable year in that regard. Maybe Jason Kelce was right. Maybe Jason Kelce was overrated. Kidding. Done in the offseason draft. Go back. What do they do to get done in the offseason draft and get back to the Super Bowl? Resign Zack Baun. Resign Milton Williams. Josh Sweat potentially walks. And Mekhi Becton potentially walks. They drafted Tyler Steen for a reason. And offensive line seems to be a rather easy, replaceable position when Jeff Stoutland's your head coach. Or excuse me, when Jeff Stoutland's your offensive line coach. I heard all year how the Eagles had a weak NFC. Yeah, right? Or how weak the NFC was. Right? Doug for offensive coordinator. That's amazing. M. Reyes. Oh, that says Eric. M. Reyes, what's going on? Please stay an Eagle, Zach. I know, right? Sean Gillespie. Better opportunity in Philadelphia and will be treated fervently like a superstar. Fervently like fervently than like a superstar. Pretty amazing. Detrick Gibson, what's going on? Good morning. Go Birds. Watching today from North Carolina, says Robert Smith. What's going on? Love you back. Send me some confetti. That's great. Rodney Burton. What's up, Rodney? We champs, baby. Never had any doubts. Rodney, my man, Pots and Pans. You did tell me back at the casino. I remember you. What's up, Rodney? Kelce leaving opened the door for Jalen Hurts to be better and be all around. Yeah, I would say that's fair. He had to take more responsibility, certainly. Should they draft for needs? Never draft for needs. Draft best player available when you're talking about rounds, the first round. Second round, you can talk about a little bit of a project, tiny bit of a project. Like Cam Jurgens, for instance, but he was your guard. He was your right guard. Bing, bang, boom. Just like that. Come on now. Let's say your name. I'm a man of great culture. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. That's the Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Sixers don't play, thank God. Flyers don't play. I'd rather watch the Flyers. And also, public service announcement next week. If something breaks, we'll do something for the show. But as of right now, no Farzy show next week. I'm taping all next week for Greatest Sports Legends Then and Now. Greg Murphy of the Phillies. You know and love Greg Murphy. He's been on this show as well. I'll be taping that along with Wes Hall. So we have a taping of those shows. It's a nationally syndicated sports show that I work on, and a lot of regional networks across the United States picked it up. So I'll be filming that show all next week. I think we have like 15 episodes we have to do. It'll be a great group of people. Well, I look forward to seeing these people. So no Farzy show next week. I will be putting together parade packages and stuff like that and releasing them. So they'll be for your they'll be right here on the YouTube channel as well. Absolutely, Rodney. Can you shout out my daughter, Bliss Serafina? Bliss Serafina. That is I thought Emanuela was a great name for a daughter, but Bliss Serafina. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Appreciate everybody. Thanks everybody in the chat once again. My name is Mark Farzetta. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. I'll be back with you guys in a week. So I look forward to doing that. In the meantime, enjoy all the festivities as much as you can as being a city and a fan base of a Super Bowl champion. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with you guys in a week. See you guys then. Have a great, great parade day. Hope you guys get to enjoy. And if not, I hope the packages will put together, take you behind the scenes, and bring you into the parade. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to a Super Bowl champion, a two-time Super Bowl champion city, Philadelphia. See you guys soon.